I don't think we need it.
We get it? There we go.
Oh, we got it. All right, we got it. Excuse me. So first of all, here we go. We're down to the wire. And first of all, I want to thank the Great Neck Democrats, Jody Cass, everybody. Did a great job here, making a big difference. And thank you.
Turn Great Neck blue.
Oh, yeah. And I want to thank my friends from CSCA. From CSCA.
Come over this way.
I don't need it. From CSCA and all the union help that's been so fantastic in this entire campaign. All right, I want to I should introduce myself. I'm Jay Jacobs. If you don't know me, I'm the New York State and Nassau County Democrat. And I've been around a while with this gentleman right over here that I'm sure will be introduced and you're all looking forward to hearing from. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to give you a little bit of news. We're going to win the election big on Tuesday. We're going to win here in Nassau County, and we're taking a look at numbers. All I can tell you is anything can happen. You got to get out there. You got to do the door knocking. You got to make the calls. You got to bring in the team. But if it goes the way we see it going so far, it's going to be a great night on Tuesday. And I hope you're all at the Garden City Hotel. I want to thank Tom DiNapoli. I want to thank Tom DiNapoli has been here campaigning. He's been around the state campaigning. Tom has done what he has always done, and that is he has stood up for every Democrat that's been on the ballot. Thank you, Tom DiNapoli. And I want to tell you what a great job all of our candidates are doing. I won't go through all the names. You're going to probably hear from them. I think everybody wants me to keep it short, and that's what I'm used to doing, and I will do today. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what I tell everybody, and Tom has heard it many a time, as so have some of you. When you go out door knocking, you're going to hit the doors of people who do not understand politics the way you do, who do not follow it the way you do, who do not care about it the way you do, but we need their vote. And if you get bogged down in explaining all of the important issues, you're going to take a lot of time. So I'm going to simplify it, make your lives very easy. This is all you got to tell them. Everything you need to know about politics, you were taught when you first learned how to drive a car. If you want to go forward, you put it into D. You want to go backwards, you put it into R. We're not going backwards, we're going forward here in Nassau County, in New York State, and in this country. All right, so it's my great pleasure to introduce somebody that's become not just a great candidate, but a great friend, and somebody that we count on and has done a fabulous job. You know her from her work in Port Washington, but she has been out there. Nobody works harder. Nobody will be better as a senator representing us here on Long Island, and particularly in this district, than Kim Keiserman.
This office can hold, which is a wonderful sight to see. People keep saying, "Are you tired yet?" I say, "No, I feel so energized, and it's because of all of you who keep showing up." I see some of the same faces. I also see new faces, and that is exactly the way it should be. The Great Neck office and the Great Neck game has been amazing. This office is small but mighty. I'm glad that we had an issue that brought us together because you are an amazing person to work with, and when you put your mind to something, this is what happens. So I'm with the chairman and keeping my speeches short these days because the less time we speak, the more time you guys are out, I hope, knocking doors, making calls, talking to your friends and neighbors. And that's what we need to be doing. We are in GOTV weekend. And I will tell you that 2 nights ago, I was knocking doors in Syosset. I was catching people as they were going out to vote. So I was able to make that final argument to them. In some cases, they only were thinking about the top of the ticket. They really hadn't thought about the bottom of the ticket, and yet they were like getting in the car and going to vote. So you're gonna have those experiences too as you go out and knock doors, where you're catching those people who haven't given their thought to the whole ballot. So have conversations with them, let them know what I'm about and what Gina Sillitti is about, and have conversations about the entire ballot. It's important. So it's my great pleasure to tell you about the next speaker, who is someone who has been a role model for me as I've moved in the direction of going from just an active citizen and a community advocate to finally being a candidate. The person who's been a role model for me is Gina Sillitti. Because I remember when she called and said, hey, I think I'm gonna run for assembly. And I was like, oh my God, I'm with you, because I know her. I know the work that she does for the community. I know how much she cares about the issues and how deeply she cares about our democracy. And I see her knocking on doors. We've knocked on so many doors together. I see the way she serves the community, and it's an approach that involves listening, hearing people out. Even if she disagrees, she's forthright about the disagreement, but she always listens. And most of the time, people are satisfied with that. They feel that she's a public servant for them. That's a model for me. I think when we talk about the big ideas in this election, democracy and all the things we're fighting for, that's what it looks like locally on the ground. Listening, serving the public, keeping the focus on the real issues, not the division and the scapegoating and the hate that the other side is peddling. So, without any further ado.
I want to mention about this office space very, very quickly. It is the only campaign office, and I'm going to say this in all of Nassau County, that is 100% volunteer-led by a Democratic club, which is incredible. Totally volunteer-driven. Volunteers in the office, making sure it's open, making sure people have lists, making sure they have everything they need to do. Absolutely incredible. And I also want to thank Mayor Billy Warner for your support. Guiding us behind this beautiful space. And we appreciate you and your support. So, we talked about it. We talked about the conversations. Literally, every single vote is going to count. The numbers are good, so I operate that. I'm like, the sky is falling down, so I'm just going. I don't even want to know.
Just like me.
Yeah. But these conversations are going to matter. The one-on-ones are going to matter. I had a conversation with a guy. Wife was with me and the husband wasn't with me. She was the only person on my door, but I talked to the two of them. And at the end of the conversation, he was like, I like you. You're reasonable. And I say, and Kim mentioned it, we're not going to agree on everything. I'm a Democrat. I have Democratic principles. He was certainly not voting for Kamala Harris. But you know what? We cared about similar things. We cared about this community. We cared about our schools. We cared about public safety. And so once you get past the craziness on top and get down to the local, we're so much more alike than we're different. And those are the conversations that we're having, and those are the conversations that you guys are going to have every single day at the doors. The other thing I wanted to mention is this race, which is, my husband was telling me the numbers. When all is said and done, we could be approaching $1 million spent in just the 16th Assembly District for this race. I mean, Tom DiNapoli was getting like dictator numbers back in the day. It was like 70%, 75%. The district. I mean, it's not that anymore. It's very, very different. The New York Times said this morning that I'm one of the last Democrats standing. But you know what? That's going to change on Tuesday. It's going to be a lot more of us, and I'm not going to be alone anymore because of all of you. Because the amount of people that are knocking on doors, and the phone calls, and the postcards, and the personal touches. Jody Cass brought in somebody that she knocked on a door the other day. Never came to a Democrat, and she's like, come on over. He's here. Where is he? He came to listen. He wanted to, meet friends, like-minded people, meet the candidates, and that's what it's all about, you guys, these personal touches. That's what's going to send us over the finish line. So, I have the immense pleasure to introduce my predecessor, who so ably represented the 16th Assembly District for 24 years. An incredible run. Hopefully I'll have many years myself. And he set the bar of bipartisanship, of working with everybody, and just being a decent, kind human being and getting things done. And now he is our New York State Controller. Now he is making sure our pension is sound, which I appreciate as a 20-year member of the pension system, and former CSEA. I thought I saw CSEA, there we go. Former CSEA member. And he's doing great things, protecting our tax dollars, protecting New Yorkers, and continuing to be the best public servant that all of us can look up to. Our great, oh, you're very welcome. Our Controller, Tom DiNapoli.
I already voted for you.
Oh, good to
It's a great
hear.
Give
I
it
got
up for- Give it up for Gina Sillitti, our member of the Assembly. I've never been referred to as having dictator. And because you're Italian, the Mussolini connection, I won't comment on. I'm not fascist, I swear. But it really, it's been a privilege for me to watch Gina really grow into the role of being a representative of the New York State Assembly. You know, the 16th Assembly District has always been a very special place. It used to be the 18th Assembly District back when I was a kid. And it was a big victory for the Democratic Party in Nassau County the first time we won this seat. And it really has been quite a continuum of Erwin Landis,
Yep,
your
that's
neighbor,
Yep.
May Newberger,
Yay.
legendary, right? Me for 20 years, you gave me 4 extra years
sorry,
that I
Really?
thank you.
It's not 24?
It felt like 20.
Okay.
And Tony Durso.
Oh, I didn't get there
We're
yet.
moving up the line.
A long way to go.
Oh, sorry.
What about Michelle Schimmel? You skipped over her.
I was in Brooklyn then.
Okay. And Michelle Schimmel and Tony Durso, and Gina really is keeping on a great tradition of being progressive, being a real fighter for these wonderful communities that we have. Still, the 16th AD is pretty much, the boundaries pretty much to what I had as well.
Yes,
You know, the
very
basics
similar.
of Great Neck Port and Manhasset. So give it up again for Gina, who's doing a great job.
Yeah.
And certainly again to Jody and the Great Neck Democratic Club. Thank you for bringing it back. Jody and I worked together on environmental issues during some of those years that I was in the Assembly. And she is dogged and determined, and when she sets her mind to something, she changed laws in New York State, and now she's changing politics here in Great Neck, turning us back to blue, right?
Yes.
Give Jody and the team here a round of applause again. To our chairman, Jay Jacobs, thank you for your great support. You have to cover the whole state, but you don't forget Nassau County. We appreciate that very much, so thank you. To CSEA and the labor unions, without which there would be no Democratic Party, give it up again. When I first arrived, I saw Kim Keiserman. I said, Kim, I've been reading all these things about you. I'm getting in the mail. I thought you were such a nice person. I'm learning all these other things about you.
Communist?
But I already voted for you also,
Okay,
Frank.
good.
So it didn't matter. It didn't influence me. But I said to Kim, and I know it's right, first-time candidate, rotten things being said, rotten caricatures and cartoons.
Yeah.
You know, it's not easy, and I'm sure for your family there are times they were like, why did you get into this? But you've had your head high the whole time. You've been running a great campaign, and what did I say to you before? The fact that you're running such a great campaign is the reason why they're spending so much money against you.
That's right.
So that means their poll says that you're going to win this race. And won't Kim Keiser will be a great... And beyond, and putting yourself forward as a candidate. Now, Tom Suozzi. There's a lot I could say about Tom Suozzi, but I already voted for him as well, just to be clear. You know, Tom, of course, restored the reputation of our congressional district. Jake can appreciate that. When I traveled across the state, there was a time where I had to admit, you know, to all these communities upstate, in New York City, that I was represented by George Santos, and that was very embarrassing. And certainly, as you all know, Tom's race in the special election really galvanized the Democrats, not just here on Long Island, but really across the state. And everybody pulled together to make sure that the effort to win back the House of Representatives began right here in our community. And Tom was a wonderful standard bearer, and he's been doing a great job in Congress. And I just think it's important for, because a lot of attention is on all these other races, congressional-wise, outside of our area, especially, I guess, the 1st and the 4th, particularly on Long Island. We can't forget Tom. He's always been there for our party. You see the Republicans have been spending a lot of money last minute against him. I hate to say, around my building, there are more signs for the other guy than you, so these folks better get those signs.
Because they steal the signs.
Because they steal them, and signs don't vote.
Oh my
But still,
God.
but what's the point? They are not taking the opportunity to challenge Tom for granted, so we can't take the opportunity to support Tom for granted as well. So let's make sure Tom gets reelected with a huge vote, right? So we're all committed. It's a beautiful day, a little chilly, but a beautiful day to be out there. Thank you for those of you who've been canvassing again today. And let me just wrap up very simply by saying this. It's going to be a great Democratic year. I want to echo what Jay said. Last week, I lose track of where I am, but I was in Herkimer County. Not exact. How many of you have been to Herkimer County? Okay, 2 people. Wonderful. Thank you. I'm sorry, 3. They had a Democratic event. They asked me to come and keynote it, and it was a full room. And we asked how many people were first time at a Democratic event. 3/4 of the room were first timers. Wow. And it's a very red county. And I think that kind of spirit, I'm sure you're seeing it and feeling it, it's what we're seeing all across the state. So with just a couple of days to go, we can't let up. That's really the message. It really is all about turning out the vote now. We know a lot of folks have been voting early, but a lot of folks haven't voted yet. So just keep doing your great work. Make sure we pull out the vote. I'm optimistic. We're going to have victories across the board. I'm not as optimistic as others are that it's going to be a blowout. A few of you said, "Oh, it's going to be a blowout." I don't think so. No. But it's going to be a good night, and we want to make sure it's a good night starting right here in our own community of Great Neck. So one reason why our party has great energy and enthusiasm is we have a lot of new folks that have been coming in, folks that weren't here when I ran for the assembly the first time, or town council even before that, and been part of the revitalization of our party locally, and I think part of the building block for us to win back the town of North Hempstead next year back into the Democratic column. It's a real privilege for me to introduce a real dynamo doing a great job on the North Hempstead Town Council, but always there to help all the Democrats, just someone total positive energy, positive attitude, makes us proud to be a Democrat locally. Let's give it up for Town Council member Christine Luke. Yeah!
Okay, first things first, I am not on the ballot, okay? But I am super incredibly proud of the people on the ballot on our side of the ticket this year, right? So I've heard this saying before, and now I know it's very true. Republicans need someone, well, let's say it this way. Republicans, they fall in line. They take their orders and they fall in line. Democrats, we need to fall in love. I don't know, we're just that kind of people. We need people that inspire us, that bring us hope, that are decent, kind, and do the things that we expect them to do, right? But can I tell you, this is my dream team here. Tom DiNapoli, Kim Keiserman, Gina Sillitti. This
Tom
DiNapoli would not be where he is if it wasn't for
Let us clear her where her heart is. Person of good judgment.
Okay, a little faux pas. I'm a newbie, okay? A little rookie, a little nervous. But let me tell you, that is the dream team here for us, right? On this ballot for us. And it's incredibly important to have the right people represent us. And they are not only just decent people, but they go above and beyond for their community. I was with Gina when she was talking to that couple, and clearly they were not fans of people on our side. But at the end of it, you know what he said? He said, "You sound normal. You sound reasonable." And that's what it's come to. The standard is so low at this point, right? And he's like, "I like you. I'm like, oh, yes, right?
It's like 10 minutes later, yeah.
It did, and so, but that was worth it. These are the door knocks we need to make, right? You know, one side is super loud on the right, and one side is super loud on the left. But the majority of us are all in the middle, right? And that's why we have candidates that represent us so well, and I'm so proud of these candidates. And that's why we're going out and doing everything that we can for them. Last night, I was at the NAACP legendary gala for the North Shore chapter. They were trying to restart it, right? Jumpstart it again, because after COVID, it kind of went a little dormant. And so I invited a lot of our friends to come out there, right? And you answered the call so easily, right? Right away, we got like 2 tables to come and represent. So I was so proud of our Democratic tables there, kind of in our district, right? But then, of course, Tom Suozzi, he ups it up a notch, right? He not only comes, but he brings his good friend, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries.
It was so great.
I mean, talk about knowing your community, listening to your community, and knowing what they want, right? And they wanted to see the minority Speaker of the House, hopefully Speaker of the House very soon, come and address them and listen to them. And that's what he did. He knows, he actually listens to the people, and he delivers for us, right? So not only is he a CPA, not only is he an attorney, but look, he's the full package, right? Any mother-in-law would be so happy, I think so. And this is what he looks like when he's dressed down. So when you're knocking on doors, and you mention the name Tom Suozzi, most people just kind of nod their heads already, because they know he's a moderate Democrat that listens to them and gets things done for our community. So when you go on out there, please, this is the dream team, okay? Actually, I'm a little selfish, because if this dream team does not come to fruition, I'm pretty much alone. So please.
You won't be alone. You won't be alone. You won't be alone.
So please, let's give it up for our wonderful Congressman Tom Suozzi.
Great, Nick! I'm so happy that Christine introduced me, because she is such a bright future for our party. She's doing a fantastic job. Let's give her a big round of applause. And I want to also thank Jody Cash-Finkel, who has really proven that one person can make a tremendous difference. Now, she will always say, it wasn't me, it was everybody working together, but she's the one that started the process of bringing people in, building a coalition of people, we're getting everybody to work together, and she has made an incredible difference, bringing in people like Wewa, who's done such a fantastic job in the community as well. As well as Reach Out America and all the other groups that have been here for such a long time. But let's give Jody one more big thank you. Thank you, Jody.
She also started that car parade, which was phenomenal. Car parade.
We had 25 cars.
Let's hear it for the car parade. I want to thank Jay Jacobs. Okay, Jay is the chairman of the New York State Democratic Party. The New York State Democratic Party has always been, since I first got involved in the state politics, I was the chair of the Long Island campaign for Mario Cuomo in 1990, which means I made a lot of copies. But the State Democratic Party has always been the governor's party. And the governor would use the party to get reelected. And that's all the party did. But Jay Jacobs, working with Kathy Hochul, has activated the State Democratic Party to help every candidate in a coordinated campaign throughout the entire state. My campaign has 6 headquarters in Nassau County. A lot of it, unlike the Great Lake headquarters, is staffed and paid for by the State Democratic Party. This is happening all over the state. I want to thank Jay and Governor Hochul for the work that they've done to reinvigorate the State Democratic Party to work for all of us. Tom DiNapoli, I can't say enough nice things about Tom DiNapoli. He is the epitome of a public servant. Everybody looks to Tom as being a genuine person who genuinely just wants to help people and try and make things better for people. And we are so fortunate that he's from our hometown and that he is fighting for us all the time. And I think that we can all, every single public official, anybody who wants to be in politics, can hold him up as a role model of somebody we want to emulate. Let's hear it for Tom. And Kim Keiserman is just this awesome dynamo. She does not stop. She keeps going and going and going and going and going. She's in a very tough race, okay? I'm in a tough race. She's in a tougher race. Gina's in a tough race, okay? We're excited for the chairman's enthusiasm, but we got a long way to go, okay? The clock has stopped for us as candidates, okay? We're like, when's this gonna be over? The last 3 days is like, you know, you get home, it's like, what is it, another day? You know, it's like the clock's not moving. It happens in every campaign. And she has been working so incredibly hard, facing a barrage of attacks, unfair, illegitimate attacks, and she has kept on going strong, campaigning as hard as anybody I've ever seen campaign. She's got a great reputation in her community for fighting for people. Let's thank her for being such a great future member of the New York State Senate. And I don't know, Gina just had a baby. I mean, I mean, come on, this is unbelievable. I mean, I don't know how she's doing it. She's really remarkable. She is a fantastic. She doesn't even look tired. You're not even tired. Yeah, right. Okay.
We had a 4:30 a.m. incident, so, you know.
Oh, give us more details.
Oh, I can tell you all about it. I'll tell you all about it.
She's just really a remarkable woman. She's incredible. She's a great public servant as well. And I think it was Christine who said, you know, I know my community. She knows her community. And she knows what the issues are in her district. From the big issues that you see at the state level, but also taking me to go see the mudslides over in Manor Haven. She knows her people. She fights for her people. She's a great public servant. Let's hear it for Gina Sillitti. Every problem we face at the national level, every problem we face at the state level, every problem we face at the local level is complicated. Nothing is simple. Anybody who says, why don't you just, does not know what they're talking about. Even the mayor will tell you the same thing. There is no why don't you just. And you cannot solve complicated problems in an environment of fear and anger, where everybody's attacking each other, everybody's yelling at each other, everybody's disparaging each other. You don't even get to the issue if all you're doing is say, you're one of those, no, you're one of those. It's impossible. Especially when our government at the national level is so closely divided. You can't solve these problems we face as a nation in this environment. You can't do it in your family. Your family, all you do is yell and fight each other. You're not going to solve the problems. You can't do it in your business. You certainly can't do it in the halls of Congress. So we have to figure out, how can we move forward to try and address the concerns that people have in our nation? We need to elect good people like Tom DiNapoli and Gina Sillitti and Kim Keiserman and hopefully Tom Suozzi, so that we can move forward to try and fight for the people. Because politics is not worth it for the applause. It's exhausting. It's debilitating. It's not worth it for the ego. It's not worth it for the competition and the game and the foe, I'm going to win, I'm going to beat the... It's only worth it if you actually make the world a little bit better. If you actually help people. If you actually get things done to solve problems in people's lives. That's the only way you can sustain yourself in this period over a long time, like Tom DiNapoli has done, like I've done, like others have done. You've got to keep on fighting for the people. These candidates are all fighters for the people. But we can't do it by ourselves. We need you. You're the only way that we can win these races. Because the founders of our country said that they were worried that our democracy would not stand if the people don't get involved and if the people are not educated about the issues. If we leave it up to the parties, and we love the parties, or at least our party we love. But if we leave it up to the party's just going to fight for the party. To fight for the people, you need the people involved in the process. Don't underestimate how powerful you are, especially in these tough races that we are facing. You see, TV commercials, $1 million being spent on TV commercials and on advertising, and how can I make a difference as one person? That's the only way you ever make a difference, is by you doing the effort that we need you to do to go out and persuade people to show up and vote and to vote for us. When you see a big, beautiful building like that brick building out there, that didn't just get, hey, a building, it's there. You gotta build it brick by brick by brick by brick, piece by piece by piece, to build something big and beautiful, like the United States of America. It doesn't just happen, it's gotta be built brick by brick by brick, phone call by phone call by phone call, door knock by door knock by door knock, conversation by conversation by conversation. That's how you make something big and beautiful that lasts for a long time, like our great country. So, the clock has stopped. We all have anxiety, right? Who's got anxiety in this room? Who's got anxiety?
Everything's fine.
Remember the Mel Brooks movie, High Anxiety, the moment you're near. I think I just dated myself a little bit. So, whenever you have anxiety about what's going to happen on Tuesday, and more importantly, I guess Wednesday, do something. It does not do any good. It does not serve any purpose to fret. Every time you'll feel better when you start worrying, oh, what's going to happen if this happens, if this guy wins again, oh my gosh, if that happens, if we lose this. It's worthless. Whenever you feel that coming on you, do something. Call somebody up, make a phone call, send a postcard, call up somebody, one of your relatives, call up a cousin, call up somebody you met from high school, and don't yell at them. Just have a conversation with them and try and find out where they're coming from and persuade, oh, it doesn't matter, the whole thing stinks. But you guys are you're a special breed. You're special people that you're out here like this on a beautiful day, coming to listen to all these speeches and going to go out and campaign for us. You're very special people. We need you to take that specialty that you have and go out and share it with other people and make sure that they vote. It's the only thing that has ever changed our country. And we need you now more than ever, because everything is under threat. And depending on what happens at the top of the ticket, which we can't control that much, it's going to have a big impact on my race, it's going to have a big impact on Kim's race, it's going to have a big impact on Gina's race. But your conversation and your discussions could make a difference to flip votes our way. So we want to say thank you to everybody. We're grateful to all of you. Now let's go out and win this thing and make our country the best.